Chris Graham here for Trailblazer RV. I'm going to take you through an RV orientation on a 2001 Vanguard W262 fifth wheel. Start right here at the front of the RV. Here on your kingpin is your emergency breakaway cable. You'll need to have this hooked up to the vehicle when you're traveling. This uses the RV's battery to dynamite the brakes in the event the fifth wheel and tow vehicle become separate. So the RV will stop itself. Behind that is your propane and battery system. Dual 20-pound propane tanks here. Both of these are full right now, and an automatic switchover propane regulator. Right now it's selected to the right bottle for the supply bottle, and that makes this the reserve bottle. You can see in the sight glass here a red line indicating that propane is not flowing, but as I open the supply bottle, the red line turns green, indicating that there's propane pressure in the system. What we recommend is opening both bottles. When you open a propane bottle, open the valve nice and slow and all the way. When the regulator has depleted the first bottle, it'll automatically switch over and start to pull from the second bottle. At that point, this sight glass will turn red again. You can switch the regulator over to the other bottle, take the first bottle off, go and refill or exchange it without ever shutting down your propane system. Behind your propane bottles is your battery. It's a 12-volt deep cycle RV marine battery with two leads going to it. In this case, a black and a white wire. When you have a black and a white wire on an RV, important to know that white is negative, and in this situation, black is positive. So black wire to the positive terminal, white wire to the negative terminal. It's a flooded wet cell battery, so it does require a little bit of maintenance. Once a year, we recommend popping those two caps off of the battery to expose 6 cells in there that'll be full of liquid. Check the level of the liquid. If it's low in any of the cells, you can top it up with some distilled water, particularly if you see metal plates poking through. Just top up the liquid to the fill line, put a good charge on the battery. We also recommend removing the battery from the RV over the winter, storing inside somewhere where it won't freeze, and ideally putting a trickle charge on it once or twice throughout the year. In the other compartment, mostly just a storage compartment, but your 3 handles are here. The large silver one for your rear stabilizing jacks, brass colored handle to manually crank your front landing legs, and this is your awning pull rod. And I'll take you through how that works when we come back around the trailer. Right here is your control for your power front landing legs. So you can extend and retract the legs electrically here. If you ever have a dead battery or a power failure of some kind, you can manually crank the legs using the handle right here. Below that is your sewer termination system. So we supply a new 20-foot medium heavy duty sewer hose. It's stored in the bumper right now. When you go to dump your holding tanks, hook the hose up to here. Other end goes into the ground. You've got a larger black valve and a smaller gray valve. Always pull your black valve first. Let your black holding tank completely drain. Then close this and pull the gray valve to use your sink and shower water to flush the contents from the sewer hose. Make it a little more pleasant when you have to disconnect that sewer hose. Always use a good strong toilet chemical in your black holding tank, available in liquid, powder, or tablet form. We sell all 3. Here you've got your auxiliary shower, pretty simple with a hot and cold tap. The shower height will come up to about that high. Don't forget this as part of your winterizing process. You need to make sure you run the antifreeze through that. And right here is your furnace exhaust. There is some access to the furnace for repair or maintenance work, but mostly just a vent, and it does get very hot. So make sure if there's kids around the RV, they know not to touch this. Here at your running gear, your tires are inflated to 65 psi, stamped right on the side of the tire, 65 psi cold, and we do recommend you run them right at 65 psi. Also, your lug nuts are torqued to 100 foot-pounds. Both of those things we recommend checking periodically, both tire pressure and retorquing wheel nuts. If you don't have a torque wrench, just torque them so that they're good and tight. And one other maintenance point at the running gear is your wheel bearings. We recommend a wheel bearing repack every year, but depending on how much you travel, at least every 2 or 3 years. And right here you've got your power cord. So it's a 30 amp 110 volt power connection, and we supply a park adapter as well to break this down from 30 amp to 15 amp. Right above that is your potable water station. So you can gravity fill your freshwater tank right here. You can do that with just a normal garden hose, or what we recommend is one of those white drinking water specific hoses, so you don't get that plasticky taste in your water. And if you are staying at a site with pressured water, you can hook your hose right up to here. This is your city water connection. Then you don't have to use your water pump or worry about running out of water in your tank. If you're going to hook into city water pressure, we recommend using a water pressure regulator. It's just a little brass piece about that long, fits on the end of your water hose, and maintains a constant operating pressure in your water system. Right here is your hot water tank. It's a gas electric hot water tank, so it can run on propane or electricity. To operate the tank on electricity, there's a little black rocker switch down here in the bottom that will need to be turned to the on position. We leave it in the off position to ensure that you don't accidentally start the tank up on electricity with no water in it, but you can run it on electricity by turning that switch on. There's 2 black reset buttons here in the hot water tank. If you ever overheat the hot water tank, you'll trip these and they'll need to be reset before you can start the tank again. The one on the left is for electricity, the one on the right is for propane. And to drain the tank, you can remove the plug here at the bottom. And on the end of that plug, when you pull that out, is a rod about that long. It's your anode rod. And the function of the anode rod is to corrode over time to preserve the inside lining of the tank. Over a couple of years, you'll notice that rod gets quite pitted and corroded, and that's fine. It's doing exactly what it's supposed to do, but it is another maintenance item that, depending on the quality of the water, you'll probably need to replace every 3 to 5 years. Before you pull that plug out of the tank, make sure to use the pressure relief valve to bleed the water pressure off the system, just so that it doesn't spray when you remove the tank or remove the plug. Sewer hose is stored here inside the bumper. On the back of the fifth wheel is where your spare tire is mounted. It's important to note that the fifth wheel doesn't come with a jack or a wheel wrench, so we recommend you have that available just in case you need to change a tire on the fly. The previous owner installed a trailer hitch and wiring on the back of this fifth wheel. It's a good size for that in Alberta. You're allowed to tandem tow behind a fifth wheel up to a limit of 20 meters, which is just over 65 feet. Ladder mounted on the back. It's a full walkable roof. We do recommend you get up there once or twice a year just to visually inspect your roof seals and make sure you haven't torn that roof membrane. And here on the camping side, you have your awning show you how that works. So to extend the awning, on each arm you have a tension knob and a lock. You'll want to loosen both of those on each side. And then using your awning pull rod, which we found in here, flip the lever from the roll out, or from the roll up to roll out position. And you can grab the pull strap, hold down the awning. Sometimes those arms can catch. Until it's fully extended. Slide the rafters up until they lock into place and tighten the tension knob. When you do that, I like to put a little bit of downward pressure on the arm here to make sure the canvas is tight. Do that on both sides. Once you've tightened those knobs, you can lift the awning up into place. You'll do that with these handles right here. Pull and lift. A couple of things with these awnings. It's not good for them to get full of water. You can bend the front, the main awning tube. So we recommend you leave one side lower than the other so the water can properly run off. The other thing that I recommend is if you've got kids around the RV, if one of them pulls up on this handle, the awning can crash down. So I recommend putting a little bolt or a clip through this hole immediately below the arm. Then if somebody did pull the handle, the awning can't crash very far. It's a little windy out here today, so we're not going to leave the awning out. We recommend you put it away when the wind picks up, just to avoid damage. So lower both arms down. Release the tension knob for the rafters. And slide down. Back to the roll up position. Before you do that, make sure you're holding two things in your hand, the pull strap and the awning rod. We'll flip that back. I like to center this over the door. The awning is spring loaded under its own tension. It'll retract all by itself. And you can use the pull rod to put it back to where it's supposed to be. Once it's fully retracted, re-engage the lock and tighten the tension knob. You're all done. If you'll follow me inside the trailer, we'll go through a few more things. Your step, pull out again, then flip. Come on inside the trailer. right here next to the entry door, you'll see where we've plugged your park adapter into a power outlet just for safekeeping. So 30 amp goes on the end of your cord, 15 amp into the normal household power outlet. Beside that is your TV antenna. In the new age of digital TV antennas, this is less important than it used to be. But one thing that's worth pointing out is there's a power booster on this antenna. Most of the time nowadays you'll leave this in the off position because it's just an unnecessary draw on your battery if it's turned to the on position. Stereo system behind that, it's just a simple 12 volt car style CD player with AM/FM stereo. And here we've got some of your appliances. So your fridge is an automatic Dometic fridge, so it can run on electricity or propane. And what we recommend there is just turn it on and leave it in the automatic position. If it has electricity available, it will always run on electricity, but if it doesn't sense electricity, it'll automatically start up the gas. There's a temperature adjustment here. You might find, depending on ambient temperature and where you're camping, you may need to adjust that a little bit. I usually leave it on setting number 3 to start with. And just inside the freezer here, there are 2 black switches. These are a remnant of early 2000 fridges, and new fridges don't have these anymore. But what these switches are is a low ambient switch and a climate control switch. What you might find with these, if you ever find that you're experiencing more of a power draw than you expect and your batteries are going dead very quickly, check these switches. If they're in the on position, they use quite a bit of 12 volt power, and they don't need to be in the on position for the fridge to operate. In fact, modern fridges don't even have these. So you can mostly leave these in the off position. The fridge, I should point out, will potentially cool a little bit faster on gas than it will on electricity, but it takes quite a long time for an RV fridge to cool down, several hours. And so we recommend getting the fridge cold before you, or the day before you pack up, so it's nice and cold when you load your food. Your stovetop has 3 burners on top. And your oven is a propane oven, and these are the only things that you'll have to manually light on the trailer. So to light the burners, turn the burner over to high and light it with a barbecue lighter. The pilot, same thing. Turn the knob over to pilot on, and you'll light your pilot right here at the pilot assembly. When you go to light that pilot light, you will have to push in and hold on the pilot knob. Once you've got a pilot light there, continue to hold the knob for 10 or 15 seconds for the flame sensor to heat up, and then you can turn the knob up to whatever temperature you want. When you're finished using the oven, you can turn it down to pilot on and just leave the pilot running, or you can turn it all the way off and relight it next time you need to use the oven. Below that is your, is this your power converter? This is. This is your power converter. So this is the power center for the entire RV. All of your 110 volt circuits are on breakers, and all of your 12 volt circuits are fuse protected. These are predominantly 15 amp glass fuses, and you have one 20 amp fuse as well for your for a pre-wire for a fantastic fan, which I don't think the previous owner ever installed in this trailer. It's not uncommon in an RV to blow a fuse, So we do recommend having some spare fuses with you, just in the event that you need to change a fuse. Right here next to the fridge is your DSI water heater switch. So when you turn that on, the red light comes on showing that the tank is not running. And if you give that just a second, you'll hear the direct spark kick in and the burner light up, and that red light will go off. There it goes. I won't leave that tank running because I'm not certain that that it's full of water. But if for any reason that light did not go off, or it went off for a brief time and then came back on, for some reason your hot water tank didn't light, first thing to check is your propane tanks. Make sure you're not out of propane. The second thing you might check is that black reset button that I showed you on the outside of the tank. Your thermostat controls both your heating and air conditioning for the RV. The air conditioning fan has 2 speeds, high and low, and automatic as per the thermostat, or just always on. You need to be plugged into 110 volt power for your air conditioning or air conditioning fan to work, and we're not at the moment. But your furnace will operate off 12 volt power. There's no fan speed selection for the furnace. The fan only has 1 speed, and just set your thermostat to the temperature that you're comfortable with. And the furnace should come on. There it goes. So when the furnace comes on, the fan will run for 15 or 20 seconds before the burner lights up. And then if we listen here, we should hear a tick as the burner starts up. I think that was pretty muffled. You probably couldn't hear it in the video, but the fan runs for a few seconds before that burner starts up. When we shut it off, exactly the opposite happens. The burner goes out immediately, but the fan continues to run for 30 seconds to a minute before it shuts down. This is a nice, quiet furnace, quieter than most modern RV furnaces. Here in the bathroom, just a couple of notable things to talk about. You get 2 switches in here, one for your power vent fan and one for the lights. Next to that though is your GFI power outlet. So it's the same as the outlets in your home with a test and reset button. The only difference in an RV is this is wired with all of your power outlets. So if you trip your GFI, you'll have no power to any of your power outlets. So next time you're plugged into power and trying to find out why you have no power from your power outlets, come in here, press the reset button, everything should go back to normal. This is where you'll put the chemical into your holding tank from the toilet. When you tear open a package of chemical, put it into the bowl, press halfway down on the foot flush to fill the bowl with water. The chemical needs some water to activate it in the tank. Once the bowl is full, push the rest of the way down to dump everything into the tank. You'll want to recharge your chemical in your holding tank every time you dump your black tank. So once you finish dumping, come in here, put a new charge of toilet chemical in, you're good till the next time you dump holding tanks. Up in the bedroom, not very much to discuss up here. You've got a little bit of storage underneath the bed, good spot for smaller items that you don't use every day, extra bedding, that kind of thing. And it occurs to me now that I didn't show you where to find your water pump, and back here in the kitchen. So this is the switch you'll use to engage your water pump. And this is also where you'll find your monitor panel. So you can see your battery is good right now. If we were plugged into power, it would show charging. And your fresh tank is completely empty. Black and gray holding tanks are completely empty as well. And I think for the most part that covers it. Hopefully you've learned something about the 2001 Vanguard W262. If you have any questions, you can always get a hold of us here at Trailblazer or check our website, trailblazerrv.com. Thanks.